right, hi guys, it's Tani here from Free Heart. We are ready for another technique video. Yay, technique video. So today, I don't really have a plan. It's in my head, but I know that I want to do an art journal spread. So that's why I have my Dylusions, like 9x12 art journal. I have clean paper here. I know that I want to use some PaperArtsy paints, a surprise. So I'm gonna use these colors. I picked these colors out as a background. So I have yellow Submarine, Tango, Limelight, Gumboots, sour grapes. So I have those out. I also have some background. I don't know if I'm gonna use these, I'll decide. I have an eggshell in case I need a white kind of shadow, a gold for some splatters maybe, or painting, and then a little black dress. Okay, so I'm gonna use those. I have a craft mat, a little craft mat to put my paint on. I'm not gonna use a paintbrush, but I am gonna use these little foamy things. So these are Ranger, let me get the packaging. So these are Ranger cut and dry foam pads. So it comes in a package like this, in a big sheet, right? Cut and dry foam pad. You have a foamy part on the front and like a black, harder foam on the back. So I cut them up and use them as just like a sponge, like a makeup sponge. So you could use a makeup sponge or a blending brush or whatever it is that you have. I learned this from PaperArtsy when we were at Creativation, and it's a fabulous idea. So we carry these at the shop too. If you're interested, I believe it's only like $7 for the whole sheet, but I've cut them up, put them in a bag in case I want to use them. And then, so I have a whole bunch sitting right here that I'm going to use. I have an archival ink in the case that I want to stamp. I have a bunch of stencils. So I will list all the products that I have that we use today. I'll list them below. If you're interested in them, you can let me know, and I will, either I have in stock, I'll ship them to you. You can come to the store if you need, if you want, or I can order them for you. So they're kind of hard to see. Let me put this here. So we have PS 155. So this is kind of a leafy, that's by Tracy Stamp. These are all PaperArtsy, of course. I have also a sister stencil. So this is a PS 156. And another sister stencil, sister or brother, I don't know why they're sisters, PS 154. So those, I think I'm gonna do as like a top layer. Then I have PS 199. So this is one of her newer stencils with this cool flowery thing, some patterns. I have this PS 210, another one of her new stencils. So it has like a mandala, some great patterns that we could use. And then this PS 200, okay? So another new one, has some more patterns. So as a, I guess there's like a front and a back to a stencil. They always say that, I don't really know that that's true. But if you remember, if you remember what's the front and the back when you put it on the stencil, if you need to go over it again with pen, you might need to remember which side you put on, because they may not be equal on both sides. So I take an archival ink, just a sponge and archival ink, and I kind of rub around the number so I can see the number, because it's not, you can't really see it. But I'll list all these products below. So what I'm gonna do, oh, and I'm gonna use some pens. So I will use the gel pens, either white pen. So I have a white Uniball Signo pen, it's my favorite, as a white pen. And then I think I'm just gonna use a black ink pen. I have this Copic multi-liner. You don't really have to use a Copic. You can use a FudeBall pen. You can use any kind of black ink pen for some ink work. So I'll use that after. Okay, and I also have these stamps. I pull these out in case I want to use them. This is TS041. So this is older stamps of Tracy Scott, but they have backgrounds. So you can just use some of these as like a little background if I want some background. I'm gonna say background one more time, background. Then I have this one, so it's a scribbly stamp, also PaperArtsy, but from Courtney Franick. ECF03, it's an older stamp, but I like the script and kind of the texture there. And one final one from Tracy Scott is this ES2 or TS24. I think it's gonna be TS024 because of these dots right here as a background. And then Allison Bomber is a PaperArtsy artist. She contributes a bunch of these script stamps, so they have kind of quotes that she has. So I pulled this out that says, like, you have power over your mind, not over outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Oh, Marcus Aurelius. So I don't know, maybe I want to put a title or a quote on my page, but I don't know yet. I don't have a plan really. So we're just gonna do an art journal page together. How about that? Okay, so first off, I need to make my background, and I'm gonna use those stamps. I'm gonna use my fingers because I have 10 great paint brushes right here on my fingers, and I'm gonna do a similar technique than if you watched my video before, making that pattern play where I put like a background. So I'm gonna put a layer of these paints. I'm gonna put them on. Then we're gonna let it dry a little bit, and I'll fast forward so you don't have to watch me painstakingly make all of the background. And then we'll put the stencils on, and then we'll accent it, and then we'll have a page. That's it, that's the plan, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start with the Tango, because that's what I picked up. And all I'm gonna do is take a little bit and put it in this craft mat on the side here, and I'm gonna have at it. So here we go. So all of the background is done. I have white spots, but we're gonna let it dry a little bit. So we'll be right back when it's all dry. It won't take that long, but we'll just be right back. We'll let it sit a little bit. So the next step, what I'm gonna do is add a little more texture to this color. So right now it's like a hot mess. So I'm gonna take this stencil, this PS200, and see these designs. I'm going to, like if I have a purple, I'm gonna put the purple on top. It's gonna create like a layer of the same kind of purple, but it's gonna extend that little splotch to be a pattern, okay? Then I'll do maybe the green, I'll do the, this circle thing, and then maybe the dark gumboots, boots, shoe, doesn't matter. And then I'm gonna do that one. So we'll see how that's gonna go. So I'm gonna use a sponge, so one of these little sponges, and I'm gonna put some paint here. So this is just gonna add some extra texture to the background that we have here. You wanna make sure to put a little bit amount here. You don't want a lot to smush out. So I'm just gonna add here. So this is going to put that texture around. Different layer. Going to add that pattern, okay? So you can kind of see it, but kind of not. And that's okay, because we're gonna do some more layers, so don't panic, panic. And some of these colors are more opaque than others. So this purple, I believe, is a really opaque, so when I lay it on top, it's gonna cover. The yellow, okay, so see that little texture a little bit? Let's do this one. this one, and I'm gonna create a white. So I'm gonna do like a shadow of a white. So you have all this texture behind. You're gonna add a separate color, a brand new color on top of that, and it's gonna make like a highlight. So because it's a white, it's like an eggshell white. That's the one I chose, this eggshell white. It will kind of stand out a little bit. Get another little sponge thing. Is that opaque? The eggshell, yeah, eggshell is very opaque. Okay, and I just picked it out of my bag that had the white. So what I'm gonna do, because there's Cloud 9, there's Snowflake that's a brighter white, but I'm gonna take the purple. So remember how I put that flower in there? I'm gonna take the purple and kind of in the middle of that, and I'm gonna go around that, right? So I'm gonna make that kind of my flower base. So because this is opaque, this is gonna cover a bit, but I'm not going to, right? I'm not like painting it on. I don't necessarily have to do all of it, but I'm going to for this first one. So this is going to push those colors back. Okay. Ooh, ah, look at there. Pretty. So I've got all this pattern going on, okay? But I need kind of a focal element. So what I'm gonna do, so remember these sisters, these are sisters. What I'm gonna do is, I stamped these onto just a white paper. So some of my sayings that I want to do. In my googly eye scissors, my friend Laura put googly eyes on all my stuff. So I'm gonna do this one that says, let me be myself and then I'm satisfied. Hold on, I can't read upside down. Let me be myself and then I'm satisfied. I know that I'm a woman with inward strength and plenty of courage. Bam. Okay, I have some paint left over. So since I kind of pushed that purple in the back and I want it to highlight, I'm just gonna take my little sponge and messy it up because I want to put that in the middle of my, that's by Anne Frank. Maybe some purple and orange or yellow. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of blend it in with, so if I just put a white on there, it would be, okay, so here, let's see. Let's say I want that to be right there. So now I want these to kind of hold that or direct your eye to this, this thing right here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to pop it up. So I'll find some foam squares, but I'm going to put this as black. Okay, so you're gonna see it's gonna be a really stark difference between this bright color that we've got going on and this black, okay? So another sponge, and I already had a black ink one. I'm gonna take a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna thank you, my friend Laura gave me a thing, foam square, foam tape. Okay, I'm gonna put that right there. So I'm going to just put this down and I'm going to pop this with this black. that done, we're gonna give it a minute to dry. But, so right, so this is all pointing to this. You have a ton of patterns here, so you could leave this like it is right now if you wanted to. But the magic is in the pen work, right? So while I'm waiting for this part to dry, you can see that it's kind of needs to be dried. There's a couple things that I want here on this page. So I want a kind of a frame around it, right? Because right now it just looks like this big kind of hot mess here. So I'm gonna take my pen, and I'm actually gonna change my pen. And this is where, so Dina Wakely loves this pen. It is called it's a FudeBall 1.5. So my Copic is a 1, like a 1.0 Copic pen. This is a 1.5. I'm gonna use this to create a frame just around the picture and around this focal element here, okay? So I'm just gonna freehand it. So this paint, this FudeBall pen writes amazingly on paint, okay? So that I don't have to sit and wait for it to cure. Obviously if you draw on wet paint, it's going to be bad, okay? But do you see how just even that little bit of frame just kind of tightened up that picture, okay? So I'm gonna do that. Then I know I'm gonna stick this here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna stick it down, but I'm gonna go, so I'm gonna put a frame here, okay? The reason I'm gonna do that is because I want to start adding some pen work, okay? So I know that this is going to be my focal point here, but I'm gonna add some pen work. So remember those patterns that I had before. So I could either take the stencil and put the stencil over it and draw around it, or, right, I can just take my pen and, so see behind this, if I want to draw all around the green, so if I see the green petals, if I choose, right, so I can go here, find that green petal and draw. So I'm essentially sketching that petal. So that's why I didn't want to stick this down. Okay, so I'm gonna doodle. So I'm gonna take this art page, and it doesn't need to be neat. It doesn't need to be pretty. You can do whatever that you want to do. You can add like an extra little line in there. But essentially you're making this your page, okay? If you do that with that green one, you're gonna wanna find the next green one and do the same. Okay, so find that green, and we're going to go all around there, that what you can see, right? Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this. I'm going to go doodle around all this page, and we'll be back when I get done. But you can doodle as much as you want, right? So some of you maybe are like, oh my God, this page is really busy. But I just wanted an art page. I wanted to make something pretty. I wanted to say something, right? I wanted to create, get my paints out, make a big old mess, use my stencils. So all those cool stencils and stamps that Tanya keeps showing you that you, oh my God, I have to have those. What am I gonna use them for? Just use them in your journal for two things that you're gonna learn from this. Number one, how your paints react. So how your translucent paints reacts with this color, or color combinations. If you're not really good at the color combinations and you need help, just put it down and figure out what you want to put down. You might go, well, this would have looked better if I did a pink instead of a purple. Well, then you know, this is just an art journal. It's your art journal. It doesn't need to go on a wall. It doesn't need to be perfect. You do what you want to do, right? You do you, boo. You can also try out your pens. So if you bought a cool pen, don't hoard your pens, use them. If you don't use them, they're gonna dry up and then you're gonna be sad that you spent all that money and So you can be crazy like Tanya, have a whole big giant bag of pens, but then I have a pen and I know I can use it. So play. So this whole day, I didn't have a plan. You probably thought it was a hot mess when I was going through it. You're like, why are you putting purple on purple, Tanya? You're not making sense. But now you can see the pattern. You can kind of see it. So play. That's it. So thank you for playing. I appreciate you. Find that art. Find the joy in the art of you creating. And we will be back for another art technique. Okay, so if you like this channel, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos. Thanks again for joining me and have a fabulous day. Okay.